we are watching another video. So this video right here is the latest video from everyone's favorite loser, John Doyle. John motherfucking Doyle. 45th result on Pornhub. That's your porn tonight? Well, I'm not probably going to watch porn. Okay. What the fuck is going on, TBH, says John Doyle. I wonder what is going on. Let's see how much cope John Doyle has.
We all saw what happened yesterday at the Capitol. We all know what happened. So I just wanted to make this video really quickly so we can touch base. And I'd like to be able to give you my honest opinion on everything, but I just simply can't because I don't want to risk it on YouTube. And so if you want to hear...
Wow, his risky... He has risky opinions about this. Shocked. I'm shocked.
Hear my honest opinion on it. I did a live stream yesterday for an hour that will be archived on the website for members to access, and it's honestly, I think, one of the best streams that we've ever done in terms of the sheer quality of my takes, but I don't know. I want to keep it relaxed here. We're still very busy over here planning for the Texas move, the new studio, the anti-porn dissertation, all that stuff, but I have to touch on this at least a little bit, despite the fact that the energy is a little low right now. And at first I thought it was because of winter, like, you know, the country's over here collapsing, and I'm like, maybe I'm a little down because it's winter. Maybe it's seasonal. Maybe it's just because it's cold out. But yeah, I've got 4 points of bad news from yesterday that we need to address. And then I've got 5 points of good news that we should also address. And again, if you want to hear a more detailed take on what happened yesterday, please go check it out on the website. That's how you can support the channel. They just banned our Discord yesterday for literally no reason.
Not no reason. You're John Doyle. Sure, Apollo. Send it to me in a DM or something. You're John Doyle. You're literally anti-democracy. You're literally anti-democracy. Does anyone not understand? Like, it's not a joke when I say that. It's not a. It's. I'm not making a funny haha. He called democracy cringe. Where the fuck was that at? Did he delete that? Democracy is cringe. Where is that? Is that not the title of the video? Anyway, he called democracy cringe. Yeah, he's a bad guy. He's not a great guy. Ambiguous Samus, thanks so much for the 9 months. This video was posted on the 7th. It's been a week.
But they use things like this as an excuse to clamp down on people with the wrong opinions. And so as we'll talk about...
Your opinion is that democracy is bad. Porn should be banned. It's not just your fucking opinions, bro. It's like you're literally harmful, dude. You have radical people in your Discord.
We need your support now more than ever. And I mean we as in like every
Twitter's fine, Apollo.
Independent right-wing content creator or commentator, whatever you want to call us, because ultimately we work for you.
Yeah. I think it's absurdly important to tell you that Abigail Shapiro is getting breast reduction surgery and dudes on Twitter are freaking out. She gets to do what she wants with her body, man. Oh, people are weird. Why do these people want porn banned, Jake? Because fapping is bad.
And it's going to get a lot more difficult to do this in the near future.
I guess.
And also in the broader timeline if the trends continue. And you might think that I'm being pessimistic. I don't think I am. I think I'm just being honest. I think I'm calling it how I see it because what happened yesterday happened. And now it's over, which means that all we can do now is look ahead to the future and deal with the consequences of that event that we're all going to face regardless of whether we were there, regardless of whether we support it. None of that even matters. Like, we're all implicated because we're all conservative.
It's not because you're conservative, it's because you're extremist. Is she divorcing Ben that remove a lot of boob from her life? I don't think they're married. They're related.
Or we're all Trump supporters or whatever. Like, I won't speak for you individually, but you get what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people will hear this and think that I'm condemning or disavowing the protesters, but I didn't say that. Those aren't my words. And again, I have to be very careful with my words here on YouTube, but I will say that I understand why they did what they did.
Oh, do you? Oh, do you?
Not even in terms of like the way the media has glorified and enabled rioting for the last 6 months in this country, but I will say that there is a key difference that no one really seems to be highlighting because...
Okay, so the key difference is this. Here's my take on the key difference between BLM rioting, Antifa rioting, or whatever. Call it riot. Let's just call it rioting. Let's steal Amanda's position. Let's call it rioting, okay? They're rioting in the streets, okay? They've killed no people, first of all. There have been no murders tied to Antifa. That's a fact. That report just came out like 2 days ago or something like that. No, Antifa has not been linked to a murder. Okay, not a thing. So what what were the people in BLM and Antifa? What were they advocating for? Human rights, an expansion of human rights, specifically black people to be less persecuted under the law. There were a variety of things, but mostly it was police brutality. But there was also a ton of other stuff that was lashed onto the movement, specifically anti-fascism, anti-capitalism, a bunch of stuff like that. Swastika in the poster. Yeah. So as far as what happened at the Capitol, these people were mad because they lost a Democratic election. You don't have a leg to stand on. You aren't making an ethical case. If you were storming the Capitol because they were putting Mexican children in cages, little based. Now, I don't agree with the gallows and shit and all that other bullshit you did, but if you just wanted to occupy the space like the Black Panthers did before, the Black Panthers walked up there with guns, stood there, and showed political solidarity to all the people that they were supporting in that time. Like, that's ideal. This has happened in the past. It's important to do things like this from time to time. Your riot was literally, you killed police officers. You killed your own people. In poetic ways. You also died to police, while threatening their lives. You went in to abduct human beings and hang them in the streets, because you disagreed with the outcome of a democratic election. These are not the same thing. These other people disagree with the treatment of people based on their skin color. You disagree with that other people disagreed with you. Stop. You're a baby. You're a fucking baby. And a terrorist.
Of course, conservatives are playing their favorite game right now, which is, can you believe the left? Look at the hypocrisy, which is just really low-hanging fruit. But the key difference, and this is all that I'll say, is that one group of people hates our country so much that they're willing to risk their lives to destroy it, and the other group of people loves our country so much that they're willing to risk their lives for it.
Okay. Are there any people in here by show of cobs? Are there any people in here that hate the country? Okay, not hate aspects about the country, but hate the country. Okay, and okay, and so if you hate the country, what are you advocating for? Okay, because I guarantee if you say you hate the country right now, and you might say you hate the country, right? As long as you're an American. If you're not an American, fuck off for now. You just get to watch. Okay, as an American person that lives in the country, do we hate the country? No. There are aspects of the country that are absolutely despised. 100% true. But if you hated the country, you wouldn't advocate for things that make the country better. You wouldn't advocate for health care. You might advocate for the dissolution of the border or whatever, but that's irrelevant because the country in itself is a concept that you and I agree means the people that live here. It doesn't mean the border and the flag and all that shit, right? Now, we don't hate the country because the way we view the country is I want people who live here to be fucking awesome, to be well off, to be happy, to be fucking dope. Frankly, I think if you are a member of Antifa, if you are a person that pulled down a Confederate statue, if you are a person that stood in front of black protesters so that cops wouldn't shoot them with their guns and kill them for having black bodies, you're a fucking patriot. That's the only way patriotism works. It's not for the fucking country. It's not for the border. It's not for the flag. It's not for the Constitution. All of those things can burn to the ground. But the people inside it are what you care about. And because you care about the country, you're fucking way better because you care about the people inside the country. Not the fucking institution of the country. The people. You love everybody. You don't hate the country. You hate what Republicans think the country is. Very distinct difference. And you know I'm right. You know I'm fucking right about that. Because lives being okay, being happy, American people, fuck American, people being happy, being content, being provided for, having a minimum standard of living is what you advocate for every day. You know it to be true. You don't hate the country. You hate what Republicans think the country is.
do with that as you will. But anyways, the first point of bad news is that we poked the bear. That's really what happened. We didn't drain the swamp. We didn't overturn the results of the election. We basically just poked the bear. And now we're going to get our teeth kicked in because we simply don't have the power in society necessary to get away with something like that, or even to be successful in what was trying to be achieved in the first place, if anything at all. And this is important because people will say, well, what about when the left riots? Or they'll say, well, I'm consistent and I condemn this on both sides. And it's like, yeah, that's great, but you have to understand that the right and the left do not exist as equals in society. And
I agree. Comfy bruh, thanks so much for giving one to Mike.
therefore, even when they act with relative similarity to each other, the results of this will not be the same because conservatives have no power or representation in society. And to this you might say, well, you can't really compare 6 months of rioting from the left with what happened yesterday from the right. And it's like, yeah, that's the point.
Mark Twain said, because patriotism is supporting your country all the time, but your government only when it deserves it. Yeah, that's super true. Yeah, this is getting very close to report territory. I will agree with that.
It doesn't even matter. We don't control the narratives and we don't write the history books. And you better believe that what happened yesterday will be included in the history books. And all of that rioting that we saw over the summer, the last 6 months, that will either be excluded or it will be documented as effectively equal to the sit-ins of the civil rights movement.
Because they were that. They literally are that. They are as impactful as sit-ins and shit like that. Yes, that's true. Yes. And not just sit-ins, there were other things that happened alongside the sit-ins. It wasn't just a bunch of like white people finding black people palatable by this is so fucking Caucasian, man. This is so fucking white conservative shit. Like, oh, look at the blacks. They're being docile. This is how I like to see them. Nice and sitting there, not doing much. Bro, do I have to show you the civil rights movement riots? You fucking bag of shit, dude. Like it's so fucking funny to me and sad to and it should be sad, but it's also funny, the hypocrisy of seeing white people up in arms about a democratic election being in a way that they didn't want to see it go, and then being mad at black people for being subjugated for centuries, and then having the audacity to maybe get a little pissed off in the street once in a while. The fact that the black population has been as restrained as they have been for imagine if you did half of this shit to white people. Imagine, not even, you don't have to imagine. They did not even close to a percentage of that to white people. All the white people did was lose the fucking election fair and square, and they did that. Imagine if you did anything, if you treated white people the way that they treat black people. And I'm excluding my fucking self and I'm excluding a lot of you fucking people that are white. There was this great TikTok, there's people that happen to be white and there's people that are white people. It's a great reversal of that Chris Rock bit. We happen to be white. There's a lot of white people out there. You know what I'm saying? And if you haven't seen it, maybe we'll watch that in a little bit. But holy fucking shit, man. How in the world can you sit there and go, yes, the sit-ins with the civil rights movement. They were getting fucking murdered. They were getting fucking murdered by police and battered and bruised, and MLK had to walk, and they were shooting these people with fucking hoses and shit, bro. He got assassinated. Black Panthers got assassinated by the FBI. What? Malcolm X. How in the world do you not open a fucking history book? Just crack the cover, dude. Just crack the fucking cover. Driving me fucking crazy. These people are so ignorant. Nuts.
It's one thing if you poke the bear and then it wakes up and you just plug it in the skull with a 44 Magnum. But we basically just went in there and poked the bear, and now things...
Wow, did you hear what he just said? What? You poke the bear, but then poke the bear and shoot it with a gun? Plug it in the head with a 45 Magnum? What? Sounds like promotion of violence to me, yeah.
Things are going to get really bad for us. We're basically defenseless. We're RJ. We're just RJ. We thought we were the Deep Pelter Turbo, but it turns out we're just RJ. And so the point is that
I don't know what
People
that
on the
means.
right have been talking about the revolution, starting a revolution in this country for decades, Second Amendment, all that stuff. Then we find out that we're not even powerful enough to just occupy a building without the DOJ getting after people getting killed, losing their jobs, etc. And again, I'm not saying that I support any of this. I'm just saying that we poked the bear, and we're probably now going to find out, having just f***ed around. That brings us to the second point of bad news, which is that because we don't control the narratives, guilt by association is now acceptable to the masses. And this is significant because there was a time where...
Wait. Guilt by association? You do that with every marginalized group in the country. What? It's always guilt by association for everyone that's not a white person. What? What are you talking about? It's guilt by association. You ever see a trans person step out of line and do something even slightly uncouth? Well, that's trans people for you. You ever see a gay person do something? Well, that's the gay agenda, you know what I'm saying? You ever see a black person do anything? Well, it's because they don't have fathers and they're lazy and they don't have jobs and shit. Like, fuck off, you racist cunt. Like, holy fucking shit, you bigot piece of shit. It's always guilt by association. Breonna Taylor's great. Oh, yeah. Breonna Taylor's a fantastic example of guilt by association. Jesus Christ. This is so fucking dog shit, man. He's so fucking trash. And she's so mad knowing what area he's from. Like, the school district is rich, so you know he's got a lot better education than most people, yet he's still a piece of shit. His education was a waste of tax dollars. True.
To cancel you with guilt by association, you'd have to attend a conference where someone controversial was speaking or appear in a photograph with someone controversial, etc. But even then, people didn't care, who's that, right? But now, because of what happened, the masses can easily be sold on the idea that Trump supporters are terrorists, they're violent rioters, and they need to be dealt with, etc. And you might say, well, they told that to people about us anyway, so what's the difference? Well, the difference is that mass media requires mass promotion of manufactured narratives to serve the true purpose, which is just to legitimize the actions of the American regime, despite how they typically are at the expense of the American people. And so it's one thing if someone in a MAGA hat gets into a fight with a Black Lives Matter protester, but for people to be coded in that type of merchandise and then go do what they did yesterday, and again, I'm only analyzing the implications of it, what it means going forward, can't comment on anything else, but we have to understand that those images and those videos will be promoted everywhere for at least the next 5 years. And the reason for that is that it's a different narrative. It's a different ends. An image of a...
It's not a different narrative. You did the bad thing. You did a bad thing. It's a bad thing. What? You support a group of people that stormed the Capitol because they lost a democratic election, and their goal was to not only stop the joint session of Congress to affirm the election through electoral college votes, but also to try to pick off members of that very same Congress that you happen to dislike and hang them or kill them. What? And in the process, you killed police officers who you say you support, and you killed some of your own who you say you support. So one of you got killed as a veteran, a hero of the country, because you fucking didn't understand what the country stands for. Because you thought that it was fun. The People's House. Those are human beings that you attacked. What? Dude, say what you will about Mike Pence. I don't want the dude dragged out in zip ties by an angry mob and fucking hanged at a gallows they erected because they were mad an election was lost and he didn't do illegal shit to make it not occur. What? How? How are you this way?
A guy in a MAGA hat beating up a black guy is much different than an image of a guy in a MAGA hat destroying the Capitol. And the reason is that it suits the new purpose, right? So when they needed to convince people that conservatives and Trump supporters were these racist people, yeah, okay, let's promote those images, the images of people in MAGA hats fighting Black Lives Matter people.
But you are racist, dude. It's not, we're not made up. Antipodean Squid, thanks for the raid, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Little inky ink. Looking forward to that ink. That makes it sound like I want you to give me money. Well, now it sounds like I don't want you to give me money. Anyway, you don't have to. That's pretty much the point. Steve, thanks for the 2 months. Appreciate it. Right-wing people are racist. Like not all the time, not 100% of the time, but I mean like minimum. Take my bit. Hey, thank you, Antifa, but I appreciate that. You didn't have to give me that, but I appreciate you. I'm glad you had a good time. The idea is that you're at minimum, if you're right wing, you are complicit in a lot of racism, right? You're not anti-racist, which is the conversation we're having now. Kiwi, thanks for the follow. It's a situation where you have racist actors within your group, and you refuse to check them at any stage, which is not ideal, and it's not the way that we should be doing that, right? This is this is a situation where Black Americans are telling you, these are my experiences and these are why it's bad. And then you have the left saying, and there's also systemic issues. Here are why those things are bad. And then you don't look at them and go, here's why I disagree. You just say, no, I'm not racist. I wouldn't call you racist if you just listened. Like, listen to a black person. A lot of these people could stand to just have a conversation with a person or people from black communities. That's all you need. That's all you have, one conversation. It's really hard to sit down across the table with someone, have a beer with them, and then listen to their lived experiences, like the actual trials that they face, and not go, you know what? There's some validity to that. Even Republicans, because a lot of Republicans happen to be just low-educated people because, you know, they happen to come from Republican states and stuff like that, so they don't invest in education, and then they're sold a lie. A lot of these people are victims of propaganda from the right-wing politicians, right? Now, some of these people end up doing things that are unforgivable, and then that's when they're cut off, right? But even said, there's lots of you that are from those communities, right? That came over and learned, like, hey, I can be a better person. Here's why I was wrong. And that's fine, too. Growth is the idea here, and we shouldn't condemn every single fucking, conservative ever. That said, there's a lot that need to be condemned. A lot. There's a lot that are victims, but there's a lot that are not victims and are actually doing the victimizing themselves. So, that's the conversation we should be having, right? It's like, why is America still like this after Obama? That was a joke, right? It was a joke. You're joking, right? You're making a haha. You're making a haha joke. That must be a haha joke. You were saying, but also don't make me unite with these people. I'm not making you unite. No. I think you're misunderstanding me. I didn't say unite. I said no. I said sit across from them and have a conversation every once in a while. No. There is a difference between uniting and then like seeing humanity behind someone's fucked up politics, right? Like if you just think like I don't want to be taxed and I like guns and and you're otherwise like harmless, right? You're just complicit in shitty things, right? So what we have to do is there's some people within those groups that will be turned on by the not sexually, but maybe sexually. I am turned on to the political ideas that a lot of us talk about, like the enhanced ability for freedom through all those services that we talk about with that human beings should just have inherently. Like it's much more free to be able to not have capital tied to your survival, right? It could be tied to your I guess success past the norm. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with capital for now being tied to success beyond the average. Sure. What I'm not for is it tied to survival. That's where we need to start. It'll trickle up eventually. In my experience, I live in an area full of turbo conservatives and conspiracy nuts. The main reason for the racism is that they basically never meet people of color in their day-to-day lives. That's what I'm talking about. It really doesn't take a lot. And if you think these people are unreachable, there is what's it called? Is it The Push? Is it Darren Brown? Let me see. Which one is it? No, that's a different one. The racism one. Racism, Darren Brown. Is it Sacrifice? Might be Sacrifice. Special features unsuspecting participant filtering faked medical experience to increase bravery and everything. Yes. Look at Sacrifice by Darren Brown. That's what I want you to look at. It's available on Netflix. Darren Brown is, if you don't know, he's sort of a mentalist, magician type guy. in the UK, and he takes this experiment, and he takes a racist person who's specifically racist against Mexicans, and he bought into the Trump bullshit. This came out in 2018, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, roughly. And through the social experiment, let's just say humanity is discovered when you just have a little bit of access to someone who you didn't think you would level with. I'm just tossing that out there. No, Darren Brown. Did I say Dan Brown? The Distranded. Thanks for the 50 biddies. Yeah, that sounds cool. Brandon F. I don't think they're unreachable. Yeah, exactly. And again, we don't need unity. I know why Joe Biden would say we need unity, and I think it's a smart political move. You want to try to mitigate some of the disenfranchised feelings from as many Republicans as you can, because their disenfranchisement isn't real, but they believe it's real, right? So they feel like it's real that they've been disenfranchised because they believe a stupid president that sold them a lie, right? Now, there's some people are much like religious people, are sold a lie, and they buy into it, and because they buy into it, they need to be talked down. And there's some people here that are victims of state propaganda, and that's a thing that we can work towards mitigating. And so if I was president, some of you would have to be mad at me, because I would probably go the same route, because just for political expediency, not even political expediency, just for like safety for the country, like a general safety, mitigating extremism from the right is super important. And this will undoubtedly mitigate a little bit, not a lot, and because a lot of them are far gone, but there's some people that might be sus about this and be like, okay, well, we're going to be heard out in Senate or something, like, and it's going to pull back some people from the edge at least, and that's okay. Nicto2, thanks for the 25 months. That said, you and we don't have to unify with anybody, okay? You don't have to unify with shit, all right? Your job is to be as happy as you possibly can be, okay? If being happy has nothing to do with helping other people get out of their shithole right-wing beliefs, then don't do it. But I'll do it. It makes me happy. So hang in there with me, and you do whatever makes you happy, and then we'll slowly change this shit for the better. That's gotta be honest. Disagree? What do you mean you disagree? There's people in this chat right now that were Nazis. If you disagree, you're just blind. I gotta be honest. Disagree. Gotta be honest. You're wrong. You're just wrong. There are people in this community that were right-wing extremists. You have to always reach out to people. If Joe Biden means unity as in no accountability, well, I don't think that's what he means, though. He's literally just said that, like, they're expanding the FBI investigation. There's going to be hundreds and probably thousands of arrests due to this kind of thing. I don't think that's what that means. But we'll see what happens. Plus, what percent of chuds do you think are too far gone? Like Doyle? People that have monetary incentives? Doyle, Sarga, stuff like that. And then it's usually the older group of people that can't suss out information, just can't suss information because they're not used to the way that information flows in the modern age. Now, there's some people that aren't old that can't do that either, but mostly those people, the boomer age people, that can't get over that. So, yeah. People like that. Mimsy can't be saved. Yeah, now I'm a leftist. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. We have to fucking... Yeah, you don't have to be nice to anybody you don't want to be nice to. That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to put yourself in positions or go out of your way to do anything. But if an opportunity arises and you're comfortable and everything's fine, and you have the bandwidth to communicate good ideas to somebody, do it. Any chance you get, even if they're just a liberal. They don't have to be a Nazi. Just be liberal. Just get someone to be like, dude, do you think tying survival to capital is ideal? Right? Or just go with the freedom arguments. I give you guys the freedom arguments all the time, and it's not for me. It's for you. I want you to be telling other people about the freedoms they could have. Anyway, let's continue this.
But in post-Trump America, the ends are different. They are to portray Donald Trump
slowly
as
saving your mom. Good.
A threat to the country. Something like this can never happen again. He was a threat to our democracy, etc.
Zoe, I used to be a TERF. Now I'm a trans woman who argues with TERFs. Yeah, people can change. True.
And what better images to substantiate that narrative than the ones that were gathered yesterday? regardless of whether you're in support of what happened yesterday or you're against it, you have to understand that this really is information warfare. And when you don't have any infrastructure in society, your enemy can and will convince the masses of whatever they have to in order to eliminate you from society. And that gets into our next point of bad news, which is that everything we predicted is coming true, and it's even being accelerated.
Canadian leftists, only one president has been impeached twice.
Which is that the American regime, the establishment, the deep state,
Yeah, we got Hunter Avalon. That's what I'm saying.
whatever you want to call it, is trying to consolidate its power in order to recover from the threat posed to it by President Trump and his movement. And for them to do that, they have to purge Trump supporters from the realm of perceived political legitimacy. So you will have the radical left, and then you will have a continuation of the spineless GOP, who does not represent you, or does not represent your interests, and in fact only exists to give you the illusion of choice. But at the end of the day, it's all the same, and it will continue to get worse. And they will come together with the manufactured narrative of bipartisanship and national unity to condemn that which posed a legitimate threat to their power, which was President Trump and his supporters and his movement. And this is because consolidation is universal. And I forgot who said this, but this is something that I've picked up from reading Marxist theory. You can learn a lot about power from reading Marxist theory, because Marxism is so retarded that
I didn't know that was happening. Wowzers. Yeah. Well, that, I guess at that point, here's that. Here's the link to that video for literally no reason. You couldn't figure out what I sent you that for. You can just have that link. That link is for you. Use it or don't. You know what I'm saying? Use it or don't. And right around, if you just happen to go to this little clicky button, and there was a little bit, I'm just saying, if there's options on YouTube, maybe you haven't explored them before. If you just want to do that, that's fine. Thanks for following Metal Giga.
that most of the time they don't even try to explain how it's going to work. They really just instead focus on like getting into power and then basically winging it.
Has he never listened to anything that I've said? Oh, yeah, he blocked me after he lost the debate.
But they said something to the effect of consolidation is universal, which means that to consolidate political power, you're also going to have to consolidate public opinion, necessarily. And they've got that teed up perfectly, especially because of what happened yesterday.
What's the timestamp for no reason at all? Probably 6:45-ish.
They are literally censoring the President of the United States, which gets to our last point, which is that the President of China is now the most powerful, demonstrably.
Does anyone know what that says? Oh, here. Does this say something shitty, chat? Can anyone read this? Does this say something shitty? I don't know what this says. Anybody know? How's Gordon today? Doing well. Doing well. Give me a sec. All right. Take a screenshot. Ask on Twitter. I can't. Don't make fun of me, Butterfiend. Why are you making fun of me? I can't right now. I called Mimsy Moon a slut shamer. And they swatted me. What a bummer. Don't call people slut shamers. They'll get you. You keep it paused. I'm holding up an app. Just pause it. Just what? Okay, you got 2 seconds. Ready? 5, 4. That's 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we gotta keep going. We gotta keep going. Yeah, I got banned for saying someone was doing a bad thing. Yes, I did. Not for a long time, but yeah, that's what happened. Okay, what's it say? Stupid America, haha. That's it? Okay. Which one's America? Yeah. John Doyle is maliciously stupid, definitely. Yeah, I did.
The most powerful
I'm not banned. It's just a temporary
man in the world. and that's not good. We can talk more about China if you want, but right now it's important to understand that the president of the United States, for however much longer he's going to be president, is literally being silenced. He's being subverted and betrayed by those who are supposed to be his allies.
Off.
And at this point, he really has no power. And as China grows stronger, we grow weaker, and that is by design.
American hegemony. We need to be number one. If we're not first, you're last.
Because the problem isn't necessarily China. The problem is that the people who are supposed to be representing us have sold us out to China for the last 30 years, and they're going to continue to do so over the course of at least the next 5 years. Things are going to get bad. Things are going to get really bad. I wish I could sell you false hope, but the reality is that we're just going to be living through this for a minute.
Things are going to get really bad. What's the bad part? Here's the bad part, chat. You want to hear the bad part? Okay, here's the bad part. Here's what he's so worried about. Okay, bad part. $1,400 flat check, okay? Unemployment benefits rising to $400. A stay on all evictions. Enhanced child care and elder care. like, come on, bro. It's an increase on SNAP benefits for everybody that has SNAP, which is food stamps in the United States, and a federal minimum wage increase of $15. That helps so many working class people. That is pretty much ideal. So if you think that's a bad thing, I got one thing to tell you, bucko. I got one thing to tell you, okay? If you don't like it, just leave. Simply leave. If I didn't like the country, I would simply move. Yeah. Yep. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Move out of the country, bro. Sell your flooded house to Aquaman.
On that note, actually, be very careful and pay very close attention to what everyone else is talking about right now. Like, really think about who's got your back and who really cares about the country versus people who are just
They seem to
grifting.
get really mad when you say, I know, right?
Because that's how we got here in the first place. And
Just
I don't know
leave,
if
bro.
They'd be called grifters back then. But basically, everyone that was supposed to defend us just decided to lie to us and then just make money for themselves. And so now we're here. But,
Oh, weird. It's like we told you to get money out of politics for like 40 years.
It's not all bad. We've got 5 points of good news, 5 reasons to believe that it's all going to be okay. Starting with number 1, I personally am doing pretty well. I got some cool books in the mail yesterday. This morning I had a waffle. I'm excited to move to Texas, start working on all that stuff that we have planned for this year. I'm giving a speech on the updated conservative ethos, so to speak, at the University of Arizona on the 21st. So we're excited about that. But enough about me. Let's talk about you. With the second piece of good news, you're living through the collapse. That's kind of epic. You're living through the collapse of the Roman Empire.
We're fine. We're not collapsing. We're fine. Everyone's fine. Hey, you guys are okay.
That's a pretty decent dice roll. And look, okay, gamers, is it a bummer? Yes. However, you could have been alive during something much less interesting. You could have been born in like 1875 and then died.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You're not going through a collapse. It's not fine in other ways, but it's not fine. You're fine. You're fine. Things are getting better, in fact. Things are getting way better, in fact. There's absolutely a focus, and a lot of people got radicalized through COVID and through these protests, and de-radicalized from the right, from this bullshit that happened the other day at the Capitol, and through the failed Trump presidency and all that. There's a lot of people who came out of this a lot more reasonable than they did, than they went into it. Let's just say that. I'm just saying, there is a reason that lefty politics are becoming a very popular turn on the internet, man. We're correct. It's very simple. We're just correct, okay? Don't you know having equal rights to POCs is the same thing as being oppressed? True. If you don't think it's getting better, you're only considering your own situation, right? Other people's situations are getting better as well, and your personal situation hopefully works itself out, and we all can help, and hopefully we move towards things that make sure anybody is much better off. You know what I'm saying? Like even for someone like John Doyle, as much as John Doyle can eat a dick and choke on it, I also don't want him to have anything lower than the basic standards of living I think all human beings deserve. So, you know what I'm saying? Do you think Trump actually pushed a lot of people leftward? He pushed already left-leaning people further left. He radicalized right-leaning people. People that were center, I think, ended up picking a side more, and I think a lot of them picked the right wing because they didn't understand why they were center. You know what I'm saying? And they were fake center. You know what I'm saying? They were not, because you see a lot of people that used to call themselves centrists who are like, yeah, I'm lefty. You know what I mean? And you see a lot of people that say I'm a moderate, I'm a centrist, and now I'm a Republican. You know what I mean? Like, there's very few people. Like Tim Pool's the only one that's still kind of really doing this. Sargon has pretty much abandoned the I'm a centrist. He still calls himself a classical liberal, but he says he's a conservative. I mean, he's literally said it out loud multiple times. So Tim Pool's pretty much the worst. No, Rubin literally has called himself a conservative as well. So, I mean, it's not surprising. Yeah, centrists are usually neolibs or conservatives, 100%, and I agree. So I'm saying, like, whatever made you be a neolib or a conservative, you usually found out and then made that split. So what I think happened was there's less fence riding. You had to choose a side in this for the most part. 4 years of this was it was too little or too much time to not choose a side. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know if he helped radicalize people. What I think really helped radicalize people is the people that spoke up. And I don't mean just me. I mean like all of you, every single one of you, whether you have a big platform or a little one. Just having this conversation more and more has radicalized people, making it normalized. That's super important. Do you have a stream on how we should handle Republicans, mainly people we meet, not just politicians, from this day forward? Do I have a stream on it? What do you mean? What do you mean by how we should handle them? I just was talking about this moments ago. Really think being conservative is just conserving racism? Yeah, for the most part. For the most part, it's a lot of things, and sometimes they don't understand it's racism though. Sometimes they're just victims of state propaganda. Yeah, ask questions pretty much. How should we treat them politically and in personal relationships? Well, I mean, it depends. I can't give you a blanket statement on that. It depends on the person, man. Waffens. There's no easy. There's no easy answer to that. You literally have to just be able to, suss it through a social means.
Die in 1900 of like tuberculosis. That's lame. And when all is said and done, none of this matters. You're not what school you went to. You're not how much money you have. All that really matters is your character and your story. And whoever has the best character and the best story wins.
No, it's not. It's not about characters. Holy fucking shit, dude! If you are flying swastika flags, okay, you should expect a certain amount of social outrage. Okay, if you see a swastika in your community, you are entirely justified to ostracize that person and treat them poorly. You know what I'm saying? They should not be ever fucking confident and comfortable in your space ever. Not once, okay? There's literally no reason to justify someone being in your space like that. It just isn't a thing. Yeah. Nice. So, he has capitalism and Coke font. Yeah, he does. He does on his thing right there. Enjoy capitalism. He really does. Now I want a Coke. That's how branding works. So as far as how you should treat, how you should treat Republicans. Let's talk about that, I guess. They're human people, okay? Some of them are ass. And the people that are ass, treat them how you treat anybody else that's ass. You know what I mean? Some of them are straight up dangerous. Treat dangerous people how you treat them. Some of them are just ignorant and dumb. These are the people we're targeting, okay? And I don't mean that in a nefarious way. These are the people that need to be helped. Like, you need to explain to people, ask Socratic method questions. I teach you this all the time. There's other people that teach you this kind of stuff too. Ask, use compassion, okay? I know it can be frustrating. And if you don't have the bandwidth for it, fuck them. It's not your job. It's not your job. That's important to know. But if you feel compelled to do so, if you have the space, if it's not going to hurt your mental health, it would behoove you to reach out to people, especially in your spaces like your family, right? You might have a mom or something that's like, well, I just don't know why white lives don't matter too. And it's like, that's not the point. That's not the point. And then say like, okay, if I hurt my knee and it was bleeding, would you say all knees matter and put a Band-Aid on my right knee when my left knee is the one that's bleeding? And she's going to be like, well, no, of course not. That'd be stupid. You know what I'm saying? And say like, it's the same thing. They're not saying that white lives don't matter. They're saying that black lives matter and it needs help. There's an aspect of having a black life that requires assistance in this scenario, mostly from a social perspective. It's not like they don't need you to do stuff for them. They need you to be just not against them. That's really what it is. You just don't be against black lives. That's the whole thing. So if you want to go to mockery, you're going to lose. So if you just mock people all the time, whatever, man. All lives matter. See, this is this thing. All lives matter. But you're misunderstanding the conversation, right? You don't understand it because you're dumb. And you refuse to listen, right? Literally no one's saying that no other lives matter. Like the other day when people were like, you see that guy that was Pog for, is he still Pog? I don't even know. The global emote Poggy. The global Poggy. Is he still that? Wow, I have so many emotes. Where's the globals? There it is. Global Poggers. PogChamp, is that this guy? Who's that? Who's that fella? No, that's a lady? I don't know who that is. But it was a different Critical Bard. Critical Bard the other day said, no, not Gutex, Critical Bard. They replaced the Pog and they're going through. Everybody gets a little bit of a Pog moment. They're just cycling it through as a community thing, which I think is a good idea. That's fine. Critical Bard said, white opinions don't matter, something like that. But what did he say? I forget why, but if you watch the clip, he's talking about it in relation to the conversation. Like I'm gonna do disservice to this, but Mito, thanks for giving one to Praxis Powers. I appreciate that. Thanks, I appreciate it. Ryan was it Gutex? I don't know who he was, but basically the idea here is like we don't need opinions from white people about how black lives should react to their own oppression. You know what I mean? Like what the best thing you can do as a white person in regards to Black Lives Matter is offer solidarity and ask where you can help. Don't center yourself in the conversation. That's pretty much the whole point. It's the whole point, man. Yeah, it's why don't we have white pride? Because white isn't a culture. White pride is literally celebrating not being black or brown. It's racist. Yeah, exactly. Because now Italians have pride, Irish have pride, German pride, whatever you got going on. But it's not white pride because white is not a race or culture. Now the thing about black pride is, and you might say, well, black is the same way. They're not Nigerian or whatever. It's like, okay, and they're not from Morocco. Why do they have Moroccan pride? Well, it's because black people in America that are descendants of chattel slavery were stripped of their culture. They were forced to leave homes that they liked, that they loved, for your labor, and they were stripped of that. And then they created a new one. And the new one is around being a black body in America. It's black pride. And that's what happens in the place when you're stripped of culture. Naturally, you will create a new one. I mean, I don't know how you don't understand that. The Soyest of Boys, thanks so much for the 3 months. And if you don't understand that, then you're not listening. You're not paying attention. And you need to pay attention more because you're just losing the plot. That's it. What do white people have to be proud of not using spices? Well, I mean, sure, but also like I don't have any particular pride towards my culture or anything outside of like the certain things that I grew up with, like Michigan kind of stuff, like Midwestern sort of stuff. I have some pride in that. Like I think it's fun. Like I like the idea. It's sort of an American tradition to kind of rib each other for growing up in certain places. Like, oh, you grew up in the South. You fuck your cousin or some shit like that. And then people in the north are like, you talk funny. You're always over here and you talk like this. And you eat corn. And, people out west coast eat a lot of avocado. People out east have strange Boston or New York accents, stuff like that. Florida people are just fucking crazy. Louisiana people wrestle alligators. There's all sorts of stuff. And it's kind of fun. It's mostly harmless. And it's just taking a little bit of pride in where you come from and enjoying certain aspects of the culture you grew up in. There are certain aspects of that. Coney dogs are a great example. You can think of things that you grew up with that you have lots of things that you like about it, whether it's your favorite sports team, whether it's a certain activity, could be a parade or a carnival that you guys like the butter carnival thing that happens. Maybe big Texas steaks. You could really like the sushi on the West Coast or going to Chinatown or something like I don't know, whatever you got going on. But here's the thing: black culture had to be reforged out of nothingness because these were a bunch of black bodies torn from multiple different cultures. People forget Africa's not a monolith, right? They were different cultures, different tribes, different countries, different places all over, and mostly West Africa, obviously. But these people ended up finding solidarity among each other despite their differences because of their massive amounts of oppression and forged a new, bright, vibrant culture. And it dominates pop culture for a good reason. So, I mean, if you genuinely can't understand this, you either don't want to because it makes you uncomfortable to understand that you were a perpetrator, and you don't want to be called racist, or you are just really, really, really bad at thinking. But I can help you. My friend's dad was a Holocaust survivor. He died on January 11th, and one of the last things he saw were Nazi flags at the Capitol. It makes me angry. Yeah, I agree. Zookeeper Tanner, thanks so much for the first time subbing, man. Appreciate that. What am I a liar about? East Africa is where the humans first started out. I was talking about slavery. What are you talking? What? I was talking about West African slavery. Shut the fuck up.
Good call, baby bird. Good call.
Don't call me a fucking liar. What? Liar. I couldn't just, first of all, couldn't just be wrong, right? What if I said west instead of east? Couldn't just be wrong, but now I'm a liar. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, okay. All right, buddy. How long have you been here? Have you been here long enough? Been sub for a month? You've been here since November? Yeah, okay. Don't come at me like that again. That's your last fucking warning. Xandris, thanks for the 23 months. Jesus fucking Christ.
And given the fact that you're living through the collapse, got a pretty good story already, and then if you can even remain a good person throughout that, you're even better. So is it bad? Yes.
The impression you got was that I was lying on purpose. Lying has intent, right? You fucking liar. Get out of here.
But sometimes it has to be bad so that it can be good, which gets to our next point of good news, which is that it's getting worse. That is so based. We all knew it was going to have to get really bad before it could ever get better, and here we are, right on track, right on course. Sometimes you have to lose the battle to win the war. Other times you have to lose basically all the battles ever and then maybe win the war at the last minute. That's me and you, big guy. That's us. But seriously think about the sheer political realignment that has occurred in the last 48 hours on the right. We are waking up to the reality of how bad things really are. And without that happening, we would never be able to fix anything. And because we don't have the means of mass communicating just how bad it could get to everybody, the only way for them to realize that was for it to get that bad. So this is a difficult yet necessary step, which gets into our next point, which is that we've been thrown into the water. We have now, or at least we're starting to, seriously wake up, understand the reality of our situation, the gravity of our situation. And so
he's being vague.
From there, we make a choice to either sink or swim. Because once you realize how bad it is, once you go down the rabbit hole, you now have an obligation to either consciously work to solve it or consciously choose to do nothing.
What's the solution, John?
In another moment, down went Alice after, never once considering how in the world she was going to get out again. I've been playing Far Cry 3 again. But the point is that it had to get worse in order for us to wake up. And now that we're waking up, what are we going to do? I don't know. But the final piece of good news, the only positive trend in the entire Western world, something that I've been prophesizing for the last 3 years, coming to fruition, and that is the Nathaniel Abbott Revenge Tour. Of course, we're all familiar with Cameraman Badan. We love Cameraman Badan, don't we, folks? A little bit of lore.
Isn't that his stupid friend? Isn't that this guy? There he is. His stupid friend. Look, we have a video.
Here from the HFC Expanded Universe, Cameraman Badan wears many hats, and you don't even get to see everything. You just see what gets posted. I can't tell you how many hours we've spent driving to cover things for you guys, how many times...
It's just his friend. It's just a shitty friend.
We've driven across
cyber crimes.
Across state lines to come back with no content, days spent with nothing to show. And that's because we're literally just vibing. This is a guy who I've hung out with like almost every day for the last 9 years, took all the same classes, all the same extracurriculars, worked at the same subway, etc. And now I'm going Texas mode. We're tagging in proxy cameraman Aldo on the journey, but cameraman Badan will stay in Michigan because he's having an affair with Gretchen Whitmer, and I can prove it anecdotally. But the point being that for the better part of the last decade, they laughed. They laughed at cameraman Badan. They laughed at him when he fell through a locker. They laughed at him when he shit himself during our tiebreaker game of Ultimate Frisbee that was live streamed to the entire grade. They laughed when he reverse drifted into a pole in the parking lot. They laughed because this is a guy who spent his entire career in public education playing Clash of Clans and getting radicalized by Alex Jones, and I laughed too because it was epic. But still, I foretold, John Mate the Wise foretold the prophecy of the revenge tour. Now you look at the guy, he's a crypto genius, got a trad GF lockdown, the content is flowing,
a trad GF lockdown.
Content kitchen doesn't close, so go sub to the Badan Chan, link is in the description, because at the end of the day, we're probably not all gonna make it. But damn it, if cameraman Badan makes it, that's enough for me.
I'll be shitting on him today.
Everything Burns Except the Breakfast, an introduction to waffle escapism. Ebook coming soon. Hey.
All right, fuck off. His friend is just shittier John Doyle. Like literally, he just looks like John Doyle, right? He just looks like John Doyle. This guy. So I'm gonna have to take a big dumper all over this guy as well, because apparently John Doyle doesn't want me to go without content, so that's good. Good for me, though. So yeah. John is in support of all the bad stuff that you shouldn't do. I don't know why. Yeah, I do. But I'm going to pretend I don't, because I don't want to deal with that. Apparently there's a rant at the end of the video. The end rant? Alright, we'll go back to it. Jesus Christ. If we must, we'll go back to John Doyle. John Doyle. John fucking Doyle. What the fuck is going on, TBH? Oh, he's usually just shilling here, but I guess we'll finish. Finish.
Soon. Hey guys, if you like this video, leave it a thumbs up, leave it a comment, subscribe to the channel,
rant,
turn on post notifications.
All right,
so
is
that
it
you are
bad?
notified in the event that I post, which I do.
Full out of the closet, okay.
And you'd want to be notified about that, I would imagine. And then you're also going to want to share the video with a friend. That last one's not like a button. That's more of an independent thing. There's no real share. I mean, there is a share button, but that just kind of like prompts you to have the agency to go ahead and do that at your own accord. So I would imagine that the average viewer is doing like maybe 1.5 of these if we had to get the mean figure for the response from the audience.
This is boring. Why'd you tell me to watch this?
That like 0.5% that does all 5 actions. We love the 0.5%.
Okay,
we love the 7%. We love the 0.5%. We love the 93%. More than the 7%. Frankly, but not like a gay way. You know, like a what's camaraderie? That's not a word. In a way that it conveys camaraderie. And they don't want you to think that's epic. They want you to think that's gay because they don't want you to form bonds with other men. They don't want you to kiss the homies goodnight because it'll help you bond with them. And so they tell you that it's gay. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Kiss the homies goodnight. Unless you think you're gonna enjoy it. That's really what it is. If someone like won't kiss you goodnight as a homie, it's like, what do you think you're gonna enjoy it? No. Like, do you enjoy helping your friend move? No, you do it because it's going to make you guys bonded. You do it because you're friends, right? I don't enjoy kissing the homies goodnight, but I do it for the same reason. Like, that's my friend. Obviously. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. May God bless America.
I thought you said that was good. All right. That was stupid. I disagree with you, chat. He was just saying things are gay because he's trapped in 1997. Okay. They didn't say gay in 1957. They said a lot of worse shit. Yeah, 1997. Yeah. Anyway, John Doyle is a trash bag.